Councilman Simaluka,
Here.
Councilwoman Darminio, Councilman Garrick,
Here.
Councilman Accomando,
Here.
Council President Mazer. Both Councilwoman Darminio and Council President Mazer are unable to attend this evening, so the first order of business would be the election of an acting council president.
To the chair, I nominate Andrew.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Big boy chair.
Yes.
So we just have the last to find. Oh. I'm gonna add Bill Burns. I'd like everyone to rise for the salute to the flag. Remain standing for a moment of silence in memory of a few people. Retired Saddlebrook Police Sergeant Richard Lassou, the father of one of our lieutenants, I believe at the time, Bill Burns, who's also a member of the VFW, and all the lives lost during the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been sent to all council members and to all legal newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
The public is hereby advised that any statements made during the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook may not be privileged or protected, and that persons or entities who take issue with such comments or are offended by same may and have in the past sought legal redress through the courts. Any member of the public who addresses the council speaks for themselves and not for the council.
I'll entertain a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Motion. Second.
Mr. Garrick, second by Mr. Accomando. Roll call.
Council President Simaluka,
Yes.
Councilman Garrick,
Yes.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
The meeting is now open to the public. Any member of the public wishes to address the council, please do so.
Larry Tychek, 92 Claremont. First order is, I guess, through the chair to the engineer. Is there any update with the paving project yet, or are we still not where we were? That we're not paying the contractor?
Through the chair, there was a bill that was pulled from the agenda 2 months ago that is still not been placed on the agenda. And the contractor has submitted the core analysis in accordance with the contract documents that were performed by an independent engineering company. The results were that they were within range of 2 to 8%. The average air point was 5.8%. And of all the analysis, nothing was either under the 2% or over the 8%.
Okay, I don't want to waste a lot of time. On Claremont Avenue, the handicap ramps. The handicap ramps are, all of them that are put in are installed incorrectly. When you build a handicap ramp, you can look it up, you're an engineer, they have to be sloped coming in. So it has wheelchair access on both sides. These are straight cut curbs, like if you took a Sawzall and cut the curb. They're all no good. So that has to be addressed. The puddling is still puddling. That's not addressed.
This is limited to Claremont?
Excuse me?
Limited to Claremont?
Claremont, yeah. I just, like I say, I live on that street, so I worry about that street. As far as the purchase of the Home Depot, you read the newspaper, headlines say 9.4 million. You got to read down into the article, it says we're spending 28 million. Let's be honest with the people and tell them the headline should read $28 million to be spent. So the homeowners and the residents have the right number. Not a lot of people will read the whole article. Okay, it's hidden down on the bottom where it says the cost will be 28 million.
We didn't write the article.
I know you didn't write the article, but if we reported it correctly, maybe the paper would get the right idea of what it is. I mean, you read the paper today, it says we might purchase it. We did it already. It's over with, it's done. it says in there that the planning board did an investigation. I would like to see the results of the investigation. And the other thing is, I know the mayor is all pro for this project. The planning board is handpicked by the mayor. Okay, they're his people on the planning board. So it's highly doubtful that any of them would go against the project or be against the project. And like I say, I would like to see and know if all the planning board members, if you have notes, whatever notes we have, I'll open them, Pete, and see if they did visit the site and did visit the surrounding areas, on what dates and what did they find, what are their findings. The area, the resident that took the flooding last,
I'll let you finish your thought.
okay, I mean, we were all aware of that for years. I mean, Todd, you went off and said that I'm calling you guys liars and stuff like that. It's not that I'm calling you liars, okay? You gotta read between the lines. If we're aware of a problem for 10 or 12 years, and we did nothing to fix that problem, and then the resident comes in, buys the house, and we try to tell as a town, try to tell the resident that it's their problem. And I don't know, I know the lady, her English was a little broken. I think she said that the engineer told her to put plywood over the sewer covers. Now, I hope that wasn't our engineer that told her that. And I know she didn't pay for an engineer, because she was saying that it was $3,000 to have an engineer. But if you go back and you listen to the tape and you listen to her, what she said, I don't think the lady's gonna come up here and lie. I mean, she's almost crying up there. That's our water. That's township water that's flooding her property and ruining her property. And we gotta fix it, no matter what it costs. We have to fix that. And it shouldn't be any cost to the resident. I mean, we're talking about having flood meetings and FEMA meetings and everything else. We got flooding right there, we're not even near a river. We can't control our drain water. And we have to fix it. And I think you 5 people up there have to speak up and either comfort the resident or tell her, we'll get on it, and probably a month went by, and I doubt highly if anything was done on it.
Through the chair, I don't want to interrupt Mr.
Well,
Rutajczak,
that's,
but
Larry, your time is finished. You want to talk when you give your comments?
I'd rather do it
Do it right
now.
now?
I'd rather
Okay.
do it now. Just to update, we had a meeting, myself, Mr. Arango, and Business Administrator Ladico with the couple, the homeowners there. And I just want Rick to, because of what Mr. Rutajczak said about the plywood, to just set everybody straight on that.
Sure.
Can you do that, please?
Sure. When I got involved in the problem, the first thing we did is we found out that what was happening is that the pipe work was getting surcharged and water was bubbling out of the 2 inlets that are on either side of her property. And that's caused because of the pressure in the system. There's so much water coming into it that it relieves itself by coming up through, and we typically call that bubbling out. So my suggestion was to my engineers was we were to cap the inlets. And we did use plywood to cover them to prevent the water from bubbling out, to see if in fact that would adversely affect the piping system anywhere else, either upstream or downstream. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to fix this and create another problem either downstream or upstream. So we did that, and there was no adverse effect. Nowhere else did it bubble out anywhere else. So we're in the process of discussing with the homeowner, because they had mentioned that they wanted to raise their backyard, because they are in the sump area. They're the lowest part in the block. I believe it was the beginning of this year, I had discussed with the council that my recommendation is that we can assist the resident in changing those open grate inlets to closed manholes and raise them up to whatever level she gets her backyard designed with. And we put an approximate cost of about $6,000 each. So the town would offer $12,000 to fix that. We did have a meeting last night. There is a what appears to be a separation in the pipe or a crack in the pipe. We're going to be fixing that right away. Again, we don't want that water in the pipe system discharging onto our property. You're absolutely right. We don't want to do that. So We did ask the homeowner, what are your plans? Are you going to raise the backyard? And if you are, you need to hire an engineer to properly design it. They, last night, I think they kind of concluded that they really didn't want to do that. And I said, listen, you write the mayor a letter saying that we're not going to raise the backyard, but we would like you to proceed with taking the open grates and closing them so that the water will not bubble out onto our property. So that was the conclusion of the meeting last night.
Okay, but 10 years ago, there was an engineer from the town that went there. And if I remember correctly, the problem was the pipe is too narrow. It's like a 14-inch pipe or whatever. It needs to be like a 28-inch pipe or a 42-inch pipe, and it can't handle that water. And that was the conclusion we made back then. Then PJ passed away, and nothing was ever said about it.
Okay, Larry?
And that's
I
where we
think
left.
you can talk to Mr. Arango, will be around after the meeting if you want
Okay.
to further discuss that.
But like I said,
And also the mayor.
we
yeah,
did
because
spend
it's
money
had-
on it before.
Thank you, sir. Any other member of the public wish to address the council? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting to the public.
Motion to close.
Second.
Mr. Garrett, second, Mr. Rathmando, roll call.
Councilman Garrick,
Yes.
Councilman Accomando,
Yes.
Council President Smooth.
Yes. Okay, council comments, want to start with Todd?
Me? I got nothing yet.
Garrett?
The Flood Committee is going to be meeting on December 16th at the Senior Center at 6:30. We're hoping to talk with a potential floodplain manager for the township. Other old business that will be discussed, we're going to talk about the FEMA brochures and their distribution, the new flood maps that we received a couple months ago. We're also looking to finalize our Flood Committee mission statement. Any resident that's interested are more than welcome to attend the meeting. Also, I'd just like to wish all the residents of Saddlebrook a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holiday, Happy New Year, as well as all the members here on the council and the mayor. Thank you.
Okay. With regard to the Home Depot property, we have no control over what people write in the paper, and I did not read the entire article. I forget where I was, but it came out and somebody says, oh, you guys are buying the Home Depot. Some people did not know that we were going to do that. The $28 million was the amount that basically is a cap amount. We honestly do not expect it to go that high. The I think it was less than 10 million was for the property, and the rest is for the build-out, for security, for equipment, for chairs and the office supplies and things of that nature. I know in the past people have said it's old, but there are everybody here probably lives in a house that's 50 or 60 years old. This is basically a square block that was easy to make. It's just there. It's can contain what we need to do, and I think it's easy to retrofit what we need into that. In terms of, there was a question about the planning board. Sometimes the reporters just don't get it. The planning board's job was to review and determine whether or not this property would be considered a property in need of redevelopment. They did, and they found that it was, and that was their finding. If anybody wants to know what they did or how they did it, I would suggest that you look at the minutes of the planning board. It may have it in there, it may not, but that would be the best place to look. On another note, the holiday lights, Christmas lights, whatever, but they'll be going up, I believe, this weekend. And our intention is to expand it and extend it. It ended last year, we got it up to 5th Street, and this year our intention is to go from 5th up to Erie, pending our friends at PSE&G giving us the electricity and putting the outlets, as silly as it sounds, we need them to cooperate with us and get us the outlets so that we can plug in the lights. So that is hopefully taking place this weekend, and we'll have the lights up through the end of the new year. I don't think I have anything else for now, so we'll go right to ordinances. The first ordinance is for a second reading? What's that? Oh, you want to talk? The mayor wants to talk. Sorry, Mayor, I apologize. Floor is yours.
Okay. Regarding the budget, I just want to let everyone know that Business Administrator Ladico and I are meeting with department heads to go over the operational and capital budget requests for 2020. We've asked them to keep expenses at the prior year's level if possible. Events and activities in November. They had the Veterans Day ceremony at the VFW Circle on Monday, November 11th. Mr. Ladico and I attended a Bergen County Freeholder Board meeting on Wednesday, November the 13th, and presented our plans to purchase the old Home Depot site at 55 Mayo Street and reconstruct the existing structure into a municipal complex and civic center. We're bonding the money through the Bergen County Improvement Authority, and it was required that we go before the Freeholder Board, and we did and got their approval as well as County Executive Jim Tedesco. On Saturday, November 16th, the council and I attended the Eagle Scout Court of Honor for Michael Maniscalco, which was at St. Philip's Church in the auditorium. We had our tree lighting and holiday party on Friday, November 29th. I want to thank everyone. It was a great event, very well attended, both here, the tree lighting here at Town Hall and the party at the high school gym was very well attended. I want to thank everyone that attended. I especially want to thank the Projects and Activities Committee led by Councilwoman Karen Darminio, and also Todd's wife, Chairwoman of the Projects and Activities Committee, Shannon Accomando, and my secretary, Christine Generario. Plus, there's too many others to mention, but it was a great event. Ordinances tonight. There's a first reading on the execution of the lease agreement for 55 Mayo Street. This is the next step in the town's acquisition of this property, which is a requirement for bonding the funds from the Bergen County Improvement Authority. Next Wednesday, December 11th, Business Administrator Ladico, myself, Town Auditor Steve Wilcox are going to appear before the local finance board in Trenton to request their approval to go forward with the project. That, I believe, is the last step, obtaining their authorization to go forward. We also have a first reading of a bond ordinance to fund the replacement of the water main at Bell Avenue and Kuhn Drive, which is needed. It's first reading on a bond ordinance for the 2020 road program. We're trying to adopt it sooner this year so the engineer can get started and the streets done next year. We've had a lot of talk. Council President and I have done a lot of talking about this because we want to get done sooner. We want to try to get the roads done in the year that they're supposed to. So we're hoping that we can get most of it done between April and October of next year. The roads are not listed. We're going to do that afterwards, but we do have a dollar amount that we do not want to exceed. Resolutions. We have a resolution to file the Community Development Block Grant for resurfacing and making drainage improvements to Albany Street. Also funds for barrier-free upgrades at 55 Mayo Street as part of our municipal complex reconstruction project. There's also an endorsement of Dinners for Seniors, which is a service organization, community development grant application, which was submitted by the Center for Food Action here in town. There's also an authorization to sign a lease agreement for the town to rent the parking lot behind the senior center at Kessler Institute, which will alleviate overflow parking from Kessler on LaGreggany Street. They need additional parking, so we're going to rent them that area I believe there's about 30 spaces, Pete? 28. We also have a resolution for New Jersey Department of Transportation grant application for operating expenses for our senior bus service and associated costs. Our bill list over 2,500. There are 2 computer software items for the police department. Power DMS, which is a policy and procedure management computer program, and a barcode system also to track evidence. These items together total about $15,000, but I want everyone to be aware that they're being purchased using forfeiture funds at no cost to the town. We also have we received the New Jersey Department of Transportation grant. We were notified in writing by the state. We received $182,000 for paving Mayhill Street from Mayhill Circle to the Route 80 Bridge overpass. I want to thank the DPW for doing a very good job with the snowstorm this past Monday. I did receive a lot of compliments from the public. Next week, Business Administrator and I we're scheduling a meeting for next week with Public Service Gas and Electric to discuss their Phase 2 of their gas main replacement project. They completed Phase 1 in October of this year, and they've paved about a third of the streets that were dug up, and they're going to do the remainder in the spring of 2020. We really don't want to risk doing them with the cold weather that's upon us now and the snow. Upcoming events, we have a holiday decorating contest that started. We started getting registrations for. I believe we're going to do the judging on December the 19th, but I'm not sure on that date. That's not set. Also, the fire department Santa ride is December the 21st. I'm not sure of the times, but that is on December 21st. December 26th, we're having our end of the year wrap-up meeting at 7 p.m. I also want to express my deepest condolences to the family and friends of William Burns. Bill, as we know him, was a member of the VFW Post 3484. He was the president of the parade committee, past Grand Marshal of the Saddlebrook Memorial Day Parade. He's the husband of retired longtime crossing guard Alice Burns and the father of retired Saddlebrook Police Lieutenant Bill Burns. And lastly, on behalf of myself and the council, I want to wish everyone a happy holiday season and a happy, healthy, and prosperous new year. Thank you.
Okay. Ordinances? For final reading, first ordinance.
Ordinance 1670-19, an ordinance amending Chapter 206, Article VE of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook entitled Zoning, Affordable Housing Units for a second reading.
Motion to give it a second reading.
Motion. Second.
Mr. Raccomando, seconded by Mr. Garrett. Roll call.
Councilman Garrick.
Yes.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Council President Simuluk.
Yes.
An ordinance amending Chapter 206, Article VE of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook entitled Zoning, Affordable Housing Districts for a public hearing.
Okay, motion in order to open the meeting to the public on this ordinance and this ordinance only.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Raccomando, motion, second, Mr. Garrett. Roll call.
Councilman Garrick.
Yes.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Council President Simuluk.
Yes. Okay, the public hearing on this ordinance is open. All persons interested have an opportunity to be heard. Come up to the microphone if you wish. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close as to the public portion on this ordinance.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Raccomando, second by Mr. Garrett. Roll call.
Councilman Garrick.
Yes.
Councilman Accomando.
Yes.
Council President Simuluka.
Yes. Mr. Clerk, please read the resolution.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that the ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Chapter 206, Article VE of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook entitled Zoning, Affordable Housing Districts, does now pass on second and final reading, and that the Township Clerk be directed to advertise said ordinance or title thereof in the press, together with the notice of the date of passage of said ordinance according to law.
Any motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Garrett, second by Mr. Raccomando. Roll call.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Samaluka?
Yes, this ordinance has passed. Second ordinance, Greg?
Ordinance 1671-19, an ordinance to amend and supplement the provisions of Chapter 183 Swimming Pools Private of the Township Code of the Township of Saddlebrook. Due to an error, we're going to not have a second reading on this and reintroduce the newer version.
There will be no motion.
No
There
motion.
will be no motion on that ordinance, it'll be ordinance number 3. And that is for a first reading.
Ordinance 1672-19 is an ordinance of the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, approving the form and authorizing the execution and delivery of a lease purchase agreement with the Bergen County Improvement Authority, also known as the Authority, relating to the issuance of county guaranteed lease revenue bonds, Series 2020, Township of Saddlebrook project, and any notes issued in anticipation thereof by the authority, and designating the authority as the redevelopment entity in connection with the Township of Saddlebrook project for first reading.
Motion for a first reading?
Second.
Mr. Garrett, second by Mr. Accomando, roll call.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Samaluka?
Yes, Mr. Clerk, please give a reading.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that an ordinance to amend and supplement the provisions of, an ordinance, County of Bergen approving the form and authorizing the execution and delivery of lease purchase agreement with the Bergen County Improvement Authority relating to the issuance of county guaranteed lease revenue bonds, Series 2020, and any notes issued in anticipation thereof by the authority, and designating the authority as redevelopment agency entity in connection with the Township of Saddlebrook project. It's now considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 26th day of December 2019 at 7:00 p.m. or sooner after, as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and that at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion to pass on first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Garrett, second by Mr. Accomando, roll call.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Samaluka?
Yes, this is passed on first reading, and the second reading will not be at the January meeting, it will be at the December 26th meeting, which will take place at 7 p.m. here. Okay, ordinance number 4 for first reading.
A bond ordinance to authorize the 2020 road improvement program in by and for the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $1,400,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. First reading.
Motion for the first reading, Mr. Accomando.
Second.
Second by Mr. Garrett, roll call.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Samaluka?
Yes, Mr. Clerk, please read the resolution.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that a bond ordinance to authorize the 2020 road program in by and for the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $1,400,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 26th day of December 2019 at 7:00 p.m. or sooner after, as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and at such time and place, all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of the time and place when where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Motion to pass on first reading.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Accomando,
Second.
second by Mr. Garrett, roll call.
Councilman Garrett?
Yes.
Councilman Arcomando?
Yes.
Council President Samaluka?
Yes. It's been passed on the first reading, and again, on December 26th at 7 p.m., there will be a second reading of this ordinance.
Next ordinance is ordinance 1674-19, It's a bond ordinance to authorize the Kuhn Court and Bell Avenue Water Main Replacement Project and water system improvements at various locations in by and for the water utility of the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $400,000 to pay the cost thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds for first reading.
Motion to give it a first reading?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Raccomando, second by Mr. Garrett, roll call.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Simaluka.
Yes.
Be resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Saddlebrook that a bond ordinance to authorize the Kuhn Court and Bell Avenue Water Main Replacement Project and water system improvements at various locations in by and for the water utility of the Township of Saddlebrook in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $400,000 to pay the cost thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. It's now considered for final passage at a meeting to be held on the 26th day of December 2019 at 7:00 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the Municipal Building, 93 Market Street, and at such time and place all persons interested be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance according to law, with the notice of its introduction and passage on first reading, and of a time and place when and where said ordinance will be further considered for final passage.
Okay, motion to pass on first reading.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Raccomando, second by Mr. Garrett, roll call.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Simaluka.
Yes. It's passed on first reading. Again, second reading would be on December 26th. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. Is there any items that any member of the council would like to be polled? Seeing none, we'll go to Mr. Clerk.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine and non-controversial by the Township Council will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or member so requested, in which case the item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of minutes and applications.
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Garrett, second by Mr. Raccomando, roll call.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Simaluka.
Yes. Things are a little different tonight. We'll open the meeting to the public for agenda items only. Is there a motion?
I'll motion.
Motion for Mr. Raccomando,
Second.
second Mr. Garrett. Roll call.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Simaluka, yes.
Yes. All right, the meeting is open to the public for agenda items only. Anyone wish to discuss agenda items, please come to the podium. And seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting to the public on second, for the agenda items.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Raccomando, second by Mr. Garrett, roll call.
All in favor, say my voice.
No, roll call.
Thank you, Council President.
Merry Christmas.
Councilman Garrick?
Yes.
Councilman Alcomondo?
Yes.
Council President Simaluka.
Yes, sir. All right, we have old business, new business, and final comments before we close this meeting. Mayor, do you have any other comments while we're?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr.
I-
Raccomando?
You know, you threw me for a loop there before you picked me first. So, yeah, I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Healthy New Year, and that's it.
I'm okay. Thank you.
Right. What I forgot to say before is most of us went down to Atlantic City for the League of Municipalities Convention, which is a great place to meet people from other towns, get some ideas, and make new friends and reconnect with some old friends. There is a lot of business being done. One of them is we have a JIF seminar. JIF is a joint insurance fund that is who insures us for liability. They do give us a credit for attending their risk loss seminar, and I think, I forget how many people went, but 5. So we saved the town think it was $1,250 by attending, I think it was an hour-and-a-half seminar that they gave. We're going into a new year. 2020 is going to be a tumultuous year, both nationally and probably less tumultuously. In this town, we have elections, obviously nationally, that's in the news, and we'll be having an election for 3 council people in 2020. We do go into 2020, I believe, on sound financial ground. We've had our auditor come in to talk about that. We do have a reasonable surplus, which we haven't had for some time. It's a good amount of surplus. Our tax appeals are down. The amount of appeals are down. The amount of refunds are down. So I think we do go into the town, into the new year on sound financial ground. And also, we're doing that without laying anybody off, without hurting or decreasing the amount of services that we're providing for the town. Actually, we're increasing the services that we're providing the town. We have made some new hires to clean up the town and make the town more visually desirable. So with that, I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year. We will be back, however, on December 26th to do our year-end review. And I thank everyone in attendance and everyone watching on TV. I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
Motion.
Mr. Garrick, second by Mr. Accomando. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Meeting is now closed. And thank you, Mr. Latico, for all your work in
Thank you, Mr. Council.
without a voice. Pretty good.
Without voice tonight.
Good night, everyone.